Hey, welcome out to channel14.com's Bodega Nights. I'm Joao. On the bottom there, we have Martin, we have Norm.
Hey.
Over here, we have Dean Laurel, Dean Javi.
Oh, yeah.
What's up? He's a dean, right?
Dean.
Look at you.
And here we have Vida, who is apparently a senior high school teacher now. Teacher from college.
No,
senior high school teacher.
I have this wide range right now that I'm teaching senior high school all the way to masters.
Oh,
So
How many
I'm not sure how that will impact my mind after the semester.
So how many preps do you have for the SEM?
I have three.
You are insane.
What?
Well, UANP is insane to have senior high school all the way to college. So we're handling all of that right now. So from senior high school, they call it junior college, but it's practically senior high school. Yeah.
So what subject are you handling?
It's called
Besides
AI. You guys went to AIS, I think, right?
APS?
AIS, Applied
AIS.
Integration. No?
Yeah.
So it was revived, but it's actually basically Project Citizen. So
Yeah, I hosted some of those.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And,
but Project Citizen in a digital way. I don't know
this
because
would be-
students are not allowed to.
Yes.
Wait, so y'all put Project Citizen in senior high.
Yeah, right now.
All right. So at least it isn't like, at least you don't have to pour through the depth ed like modules and whatnot. Or do you still have to do that?
No, but we were under depth ed, the senior high school. is
Oh
under depth ed.
yeah. But then like, have you seen their course outlines and stuff? Because
Yeah, but this one is I think they categorize this under the specialized track, so we're kind of free to design the specific course itself. But yeah, it's driving me crazy because now they're asking me, of course, to do the high school teacher stuff like check attendance regularly, submit weekly reports. And I'm just like, okay.
And you didn't have to do that in college?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
why would you have to do that in college? Are they asking you for daily lesson plans?
Oh no, thankfully, they're not. But the weekly thing, and then there are parents that you have to communicate many of stuff there. That's not. I'm not familiar with those things. I don't talk to parents. Period. So it's
It's a little.
it's everything is new for me right now. But it's interesting. I mean, I don't think I'd get the chance after this to teach senior high school. No, so I mean, it's just really more of the expediency of the pandemic. Yeah.
I have taught senior high schools for like 2 years, teaching art and design, and then like the dep ed, like nothing about dep ed. Like they're trying. We can all agree with that. They're trying.
Yeah.
But the
Sige.
requirement for arts and design, teaching like visual art was like, kung ano yung kaya ng school, and you're like, so I can teach photography, so that's my, I'll teach that. But it's like that's not really what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, there's an element of Wild Wild West right now, I think, on the senior high school level.
Thank God it's not there anymore. So
Freaking teaching Pol Gov is essentially constitutional law 1, where like
Yeah.
it's it's a little bit crazier than when we had Pol Gov in college.
Oh yeah.
Like thinking about it, or
College.
Pol Gov in college was easy, dude. It was just like
Yeah.
it was just Article 6, 7, and 8 of the Constitution. But then like now they're telling you to include political ideologies. They're telling you to include all sorts of.
Yeah.
So now I have to talk about conservatism and like liberalism and all of that stuff, and then lead that into talking about the Philippine experience, and then talk about local government. Like, how am I supposed to do that in like 3 months?
And with college age kids, diba? Parang I don't know how Polgov has changed now, pero I
it's
remember
the same as what Joao described, but we creatively renamed it Paul Thought and Governance. We're very creative.
Combined.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Because I remember. Because I remember that being 2 separate classes when we were in college.
It's now combined basically as well how you described it. So from
So
ideology
2 classes in the same short of time span of
and
3
because
months.
we have a law program now, majority of those who teach it are actually lawyers. So I'm not so it's like those 18-year-olds are experiencing law
that kind of
program
mastery.
style of it.
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool though, like with the index cards and everything. Like I do
Yeah,
that
they do have. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just thankful I'm no longer the student. No, so I think I'm going to.
so bad. I do that with my Polgo kids. Index cards. Mr.
man.
So and so. Really? You don't know? Okay.
What subject?
I feel like
And I,
that could be like a thing that Zoom can move
Yeah.
into or whatever. Parang instead of a physical
Like a
index card, you'd
phonetic?
have like a roulette. And then
yeah,
somebody would just be
raffle.
front and center randomly, like, okay, what do you know about the subject so far?
you pin their
Actually,
like,
it's not off.
you pin their video.
Diba?
It's become a little bit
Spotlight ka.
easier. It's become a little bit easier because what I have is
You're like, this is gonna be your discussion, like roulette.
I have class list now during the pandemic, but a class list, and then I have like a random number generator like around here.
Oh my god! So you do have that?
Yeah,
Number 35.
like, right, generate right class number 17.
And they're not traumatized by that.
I hope you don't get extra anxiety now.
Why are you traumatizing your students, man?
I know. What did I do to you? I mean, that's very nice to you in class, Joe.
The thing, it was one of those things. It was when I know whenever you'd have like recitation and stuff, and nobody else could answer, you'd go to me. And-
Yeah, but that's because I knew you had the answer to the question, not because I was cruel to you.
But
Don't be cruel.
those are the ones. Those are always like the hardest questions.
Oh my God,
that
wait.
always end up being asked to me because nobody else can answer them.
Can I preface again?
Yes, Javi.
Javi?
Dean Javi.
Yes,
You can
Mr.
talk.
Yes, sir.
Laurel.
Mr. Dean Laurel.
Laurel has raised his hand.
Vida has never been my teacher.
Yeah, no, you were.
Whoa.
My entire,
Mm.
I've been in UA. I was in UA for 6 years, 5 years. Never
5
been my
years, okay.
professor.
Oh.
But I think because by the time I went to Paul Echo, shifted, you were already in your third year,
Well,
probably.
it's always been humanities.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're.
Mm-mm.
You were
I've heard-
a year
I've
above me.
I've always heard your name, like with all like just the Joao and all of them. But like
Yeah.
but, like,
It was Vida in.
every,
Oh no, maybe because I think you were the
Australia?
batch. No, you were the batch that I think umalis ako ng UANP. I left UANP for a bit. So I think that's why.
everyone assumed that I knew you. And then like Vida, like, yeah. It's just
Well,
Vida.
we
Like,
kind of it's a small community, so we kind of all know each other. Unlike now, no, it's like
And when you've
So
got,
big.
educators of the same level of awesome, you assume they vibe. Diba? It's like, we assume you know each
ganon,
other.
yeah, of
There's an
course.
assumption. So that's the hypothesis right now, Mr. Tan.
Norm,
Hypothesis.
you aren't Vida's student anymore. You don't have to suck up.
Oo nga.
Yes, man.
How many points still count, man?
8 over 10.
Through all
No.
levels.
Maybe Norman is scared that I'll ask him to do magic again in class or something.
Oh,
Wait, you did
no.
magic?
Sir Tan.
Oh wow, this is new.
If you, I couldn't answer her questions, and I had to like do magic by.
Well, it was entertaining.
It was.
Yeah.
My favorite part was like after school because when we had Miss Vida as a teacher, it was in the middle of the 2008 election
Yeah,
with Obama and McCain.
I think so. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
That was fun.
Yeah. Well, right now it's I think more interesting because of Donald Trump,
Oh, yeah.
but unfortunately, we have very little time to discuss it. It's
Yeah.
like everyone is exhausted after their 3-hour class, so it's
Well, he's an asshole, so.
That's it, actually.
Though I will say that Donald Trump, I really do think he's like a social media savant or something.
he is. He knows how
Like,
to.
He knows how to work people. He's like a wrestler. Like he tweets something bad and no, you can't. Oh, how dare you? We will cancel you. Like
You know what?
I guess
Actually,
this is how he earned this WWE Hall of Fame ring, I guess.
he was in the WWE for a while, diba?
Yeah.
His
He got
Trump
beat.
Plaza hosted 2 WrestleManias, and he shaved the head of Vince McMahon bald because Bobby Lashley won for him.
And that's where it all really began for Donald Trump's presidency run.
Yeah.
Our dean has a question, dude.
Oh, yes, Mr.
My cousin was like, oh, Donald Trump, medyo okay yung idea niya. Pangit lang yung pagkagawa. I was like, my cousin, so...
Well, I don't know. It's the effect of social media. I don't know. It's just the effect of social media. Actually, Donald Trump is quite interesting because I have 2 preps this semester: media and information literacy and Volgov. Right. So, in the person of Donald Trump, there is so much to talk about, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Like questions about the separation of powers, how the U.S. system is different to the system of the Philippines, but at the same time, the fact that he's a bit of a social media savant, like when they were talking about stimulus, right? Their legislature passed the stimulus bill, ended up on his desk for like approval or veto.
Yeah.
Then what he does is pardons everybody that probably shouldn't have been pardoned, and then says he's going to veto the bill. So, like, the whole internet explodes talking about how he's going to veto the bill and not talk about all of those egregious, like, pardons that he just made for, all of those people that covered everything up for him. So it's like, this guy's good.
Yeah, and he knows that for many people, there's already a Pavlovian response to whatever he says. So it's when he tweets, everyone is going to react. So I think pretty much similar here also. They kind of know how to distract the people because you have this issue, and then Duterte is going to talk about something about women. Of course, it's going to trigger a lot of people. So a lot of things are forgotten. But the difference is that I think Trump has a control. He knows what he's doing on social media. Of course, President Duterte is not social media savvy. So he has a team behind it. So that's why I think Trump is a lot more you're right. No, I agree with you. He's a lot more interesting in that way.
What do you think of him, all the social media platforms banning him recently? Yeah. And how does that work with his savantness, I would say? Because that's how he would how he would get his message across with social media, Twitter, and all of that. But now everything, he's banned with every platform. So what do you think of that?
Joao, do you want to start?
Tough question. Joao, you take this one.
He's I don't know, those social media platforms are all well within their rights to do that. It's just kind of it's kind of interesting, It's kind of interesting in that if this were anybody else, there would have been an outcry about free speech.
Yeah.
But because it's
incited.
But then because it's Donald Trump, it's like the collective internet has celebrated, which is these private companies are well within their rights to do that. But at the same time, one can't help but feel like if this had happened to a more popular figure, there would have been an outcry about free speech.
To counter your free speech argument, he had the freedom beforehand. It's just a consequence of the abuse of that freedom.
Yeah, but then
you can't have pure free speech without the consequence, and the consequence was after the riots they banned him. So
yeah, but shouldn't have
for the greater good, Joao.
Which brings up another question about
the greater good
being arbiters of free speach.
Okay.
But the thing is social media. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Martin, first. Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing. There are people, certain relatives, that are saying it's a outcry of freedom of speech of Trump. I'm like, no, Twitter is I can't believe I'm defending Twitter. Of all things, okay? Can't believe this. But Twitter is in its right. Like Joao says, it's a private company. There are terms and conditions. You know, that long thing you guys will have to read before you sign up that even
nobody
I don't even
does.
read, that nobody reads.
Yeah.
Nobody reads, by the way. So that you sign up, there is a portion there that does give the ownership of the social media platform the right to ban certain users.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting tweet I found. Those who are something along the lines of those who are decrying Trump's ban on Twitter of freedom of speech think of Twitter as that Christian bakery not giving a cake to the gay couple. So when I saw that, I'm like, so you admit the bakery did have the right to refuse service?
Yeah. I mean, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court agreed to it. So I think that the point there is that legally, it's well within their rights, and I think people forget that Twitter, Facebook, they're not the state. And the First Amendment, the right to freedom of expression, is directed towards the state, not creating laws that will impinge, that will impede the right of the people to speak. So you are taken away a platform, but Trump is free to talk.
Yeah.
So he's not going to jail. He's not being given a gag order by Congress to actually say anything. So I think this is where, when we talk about the legality, it's quite clear. But of course, the impact can be a little bit disconcerting, because if it's not the president, or if it's not somebody so powerful, the implications are severe, of course, for us regular people. How we can even fight back, quote unquote. Trump, sorry.
Even first Filipinos were not even U.S. citizens.
That's true.
Are different.
Very different. And in the case of the Philippines, we, unlike Twitter, we are more Facebook people. I mean, the data is quite clear that we're using Facebook more. But the disconcerting impact on that, for me, the problem there is that for Facebook in the Philippines, it has become our go-to for many things. News, communication. Many public and private schools teachers actually use the platform for education. So I think the impact is a lot more serious for us in that sense, because we have less ways to use alternative means. Trump can create his own channel, can create his own app because he's rich, but for everyone else, that's different. So.
Yeah, actually, that's something that's been bothering me for quite a while now. Talking specifically about how Facebook is de facto becoming a public service.
Yeah.
Right? And how it isn't because of their terms of service.
Yeah.
So are you saying, Joao, that there should be a public online platform sponsored by the state for
Aren't there?
That would be interesting.
They also have social media accounts, these verified government agencies.
That would be interesting. Not necessarily controlled by the state, though. Sort of like the internet, how it once was, where free and open. Like, when you had like message boards and whatever.
Oh man, I miss message boards.
It was, literally like sitting on a server somewhere, and somebody could just like put up their own.
Like,
everybody has a forum somewhere for their niche interest.
Forum, easy boards, pro boards, forums.
That would be that would be a lot nicer, because
not the same as like having like chat groups and like Facebook groups,
Yahoo groups.
No, because not really, because of it being Facebook, right? How do we put this? Theoretically,
everything else, like,
they're no longer just hosts. In other words, I think the Web 1.0, you have a website that hosts different boards, and for different board you have different rules. I mean, different tolerance levels. Yes. I think the closest we have right now to that one is still 4chan. It's the remnant of the past.
Reddit,
I remember
Reddit because is a lot more conscious about censorship, but 4chan rarely has.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Chen is
better or
like,
for worse, it's really
Mm.
as libertarian as you can get, I guess.
Yeah.
and I remember like
Although I
certain
hesitate.
forums,
I was
like
just gonna say
there's a lot
hesitate
of
to use the
people
word censorship.
spamming or
Sorry.
flooding threads, and these are like forums that are like from private companies, not so moderated, like AXN. I'm sorry if I'm
Yeah.
showing my age here, like AXN
MTV.
forums, MTV forums, like
Yeah.
the same user floods and floods. We're like,
Yes.
wait, where's that thread I was discussing about, Highlander or what's that? Or wrestling. No, AXN, show me WWF. And they never did. No?
Yeah.
Oh, go on. I'm good.
But I was just gonna say I hesitate to use the word censorship because that's something that's directed again to the state.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, if we're being technical about it. So I don't know. Yun lang.
I guess
But-
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think that the irony is that Web 1.0 is precisely supposed to be to diffuse information, to democratize. I think
Yeah.
ideally for those who idealize the internet, that was how they saw it. No, but we're actually in so many ways reverting back to a television type of information where it's really one way, which is I think the irony of having a more democratized internet. We have more access, but we're less and less about content creation for ourselves. And actually we ended up really more consuming because of Facebook more than any other platform. No, so
Well, I don't know. There are two on this end. Like I'm of two minds on this because on the one hand, it could be a result of there being too much information out there and having that defaulting to whatever is the default. I can't remember what the psychological term is. Decision fatigue or something. But then the other thing that makes it a lot more like TV is the presence of an algorithm that feeds you with stuff that you supposedly want to see. So even if I wanted the internet to be the way it was, I couldn't because Facebook, YouTube, and all of these other algorithm-based sort of services tell me what they think I want to see. And a really interesting thing is there is a sort of radicalization that happens as a result of these algorithms. So like if you go onto YouTube and start looking up stuff about agnosticism, you're going to end up with stuff about atheism. If you look up stuff about vegetarianism, you're going to end up with stuff about veganism. Right? Like there's like this hardcoreization, and if you start looking up stuff about like Christianity, you're gonna end up wanting to convert to the Greek Orthodox, right? Like,
And, I have to interject as well. And aside from the algorithms that you're searching, it's also like country specific. So right now I'm on YouTube, and all the things I'm seeing here are in Portuguese. But this is the same account that Joao has right now, this Joao14. So if he checks his YouTube, I'm betting what you're seeing is like local Pinoy vloggers with the laugh tracks every other second.
Oh, God.
Go on YouTube now, Joao. I have a question about like what you guys were saying, but like it's more interesting to see, like Joao, go on
This ain't
YouTube.
Portuguese.
Like, is it in Filipino or Portuguese?
Yeah.
It's the Filipino stuff. It's the Filipino stuff.
See?
Even
So,
though we're on
like,
the same account.
My question
this is like the algorithm of location. And this is where it gets troubling sometimes. Like, it's location specific, but what does that imply?
It means
Site
that
knows where
we
you
should
live.
be sponsored by NordVPN.
Haha.
NordVPN. Baka naman. Channel14.com. Channel14.com.
But because we're not sponsored by NordVPN, we have to ask our listeners, readers, viewers to click subscribe on our channel somewhere.
Please subscribe.
Somewhere down below.
Thanks for listening to us on Spotify.
Guys, this
We
is
have a
where I need
Patreon.
to open up. We need just a few more followers. Come on, guys.
What?
Give us our go.
For what?
We are here for the goal of 69 subscribers. We just need 3 more. We have 66 subscribers. after
Nice.
this recording.
We keep unfollowing so that we have a stable of 69.
So we just need 3 of you guys to subscribe. And if you're the 70th, we'll just delete you from our subscription. Okay, we just need
There's
to
only
keep it
69 slots ever.
Okay, we're just asking for 3 more. Javi is the 66th subscriber, so we need the 67, 8, and 69. It's simple. It's simple.
I'm like, we need 3 more. I'm like, I'm like, what number am I? Just like 66. Cool.
66. Cool.
So,
You subscribed a few months ago. I think that was before Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get the notifications anymore.
Martin is taking names and keeping dates of everybody that subscribes.
Yes.
Pag umabot tayo ng 69,000, may raffle na yun eh.
Giveaway na raw.
May giveaway na yan.
The complete CD collection of Radio Norm seasons 1 to 3. Seasons 1.
Or your personal copy of philosophy. Your choice.
So my question is, you guys we were talking about like the algorithms of YouTube and like
other sites.
You talk about like,
oh my god, yeah.
Like you talk about like, oh, I wanna watch shoes, so you Google Nike, and then like when you go on Facebook, all the
Nike
ads are all Nike shoes. My question is, what's so bad about that?
Sometimes it gets wrong. I can scroll on my Facebook right now. For some reason, there's a latex cat suit when I'm just checking out Genshin Impact, or like these weird anime, these weird anime statues that's like hentai. What the hell? All that disturbing shit. The algorithm is not fixed. The algorithm is somewhat broken and it needs fixing.
It's all right, Martin. We accept you either way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but still.
if I accept that if I accept that algorithm is about market research, for me I have very little background on market research. I worked a little bit on that one. It's never neutral. It's never neutral. It's always looking for that what we used to refer, I don't know how it's called now, as aspirational. It's very psychological. It's Carl Jung. So it kind of on a I would say a little bit of a more sinister approach. It preys on your weakness.
It does.
So what is wrong with that is that, well, number one, I don't want to go philosophical, but it, as what Joao would say, it can lead, and it has led to radicalization for many people. And we're not just talking about MAGA versus conservative versus progressives, but it's just that we are more aware of it now. But yeah, we have to be reminded of the fact that even Islamic radicalization, it happens a lot on the internet. So it's just that, so it's been going around for about since 2000, early mid 2000s. So it's not so much that the algorithm itself is sinister, but it's really more of we have to be careful about it. But I think the other question that is implied there is there a responsibility for the big tech to stop those things from happening? If they're not the government, and we are, if we're reiterating that they're not government, do they also have the responsibility to actually think about the common good? So I think those are,
And that is the question that I have been wrestling with for the past 10 years.
Did someone say wrestling?
Wrestling. Right? Because we can't treat them as the state and then expect them also to not behave like the state. So those are, I think you're right. No, it's a question I don't think anyone can answer as of the moment. But it's we constantly have to, I think, open the discussion to that one.
Yeah,
it's the irony of social media. Like we say, government seems to be doing Big Brother stuff at us, invading our privacy like the FBI. And here you are having TikTok or having Facebook. You're getting zucked.
We volunteer our information.
But then the difference with that, the difference, I guess, between the state and say Facebook is with Facebook, we theoretically have a choice.
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes to the state, this is, whether we like it or not,
an
institution that we are kind of forced to partake in, di ba? I mean,
Facebook's like
they take the edge off by saying that it is us that form the state because we, the sovereign Filipino people, do
Just the preamble.
but at the end of the but at the end of the day, this is still like an entire system that we can't just opt out of in the same way that we can say, like, you know what, screw it, I'm not using Friendster anymore, I'm going to this Facebook thing.
Friendster.
Oh man, Friendster.
Multiply naman.
Yeah.
There's that utopian in between, phase of Multiply.
I love Multiply that you can like upload
Marketplace.
music there.
Marketplace, yeah.
It was a marketplace for a while, huh?
And then
it was too soon. It was too soon for its time.
Yeah.
Diba?
I miss
Could have been. It was the proto Etsy when it was a marketplace, huh?
Facebook basically took what Multiply was planning and just applied it to now with Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Market.
Right.
Diba?
Like talking about Facebook, so like what Joao said, like so they're just a service, diba?
They're just a service, and it's not public service, I think.
Yeah,
It's not a public service, but it is a question of there's only so many services, and none of them are, and all of them are privately owned.
Yeah.
And so parang there is that conflict of interest with providing you access to that service while also maintaining profitability, and that goes back down to it's a privately owned company, and it's not obligated to give you whatever you want. It's just milking you for profits, diba? And we hope we get entertainment in exchange.
We're renting.
We're renting.
We're renting a space.
We're renting a space to be entertained. Diba? We're paying cable TV prices with our data for being entertained.
And that is like, so why if you are complaining about like bad service of, like, example, like let's say Netflix, why pay for Netflix if you're complaining about it? Then stop paying.
Yeah.
Diba?
But there's a customer service option that you can complain to Netflix and other providers.
I mean, that's that's the thing.
And there's the hope that it improves.
And that's Javi was just pointing out the difference between the state and the Facebook, diba?
Oh, right.
Now you can
opt out. If you don't like it, why are you paying for it? But gusto mo pala, kahit bakit, edi that's your problem, diba?
Do what you want because the pirate is free. You are a pirate. Sorry. I just realized that like the music industry is doing the same, went through the same thing that like the film industry and the TV industry are going through now, where back in the day, it's like the music industry is a step ahead.
Is this the one you mentioned during what Greg and Ian were mentioning in their episode? The whole Spotify thing and content creation?
Which everybody should check out, by the way.
Everybody should check that out. That was a pretty good episode. It was... there was that whole like Napster LimeWire thing, and then they sort of managed to deal with that, and then all of a sudden you started having various streaming services that like your Spotify's, your Apple Music's, your whatever's, and you started having more and more of these platform exclusive releases, right? And then the internet dealt with it through piracy. And now it's a lot more like everybody can get pretty much whatever they want, subject to
piracy for like more than like 15-20 years.
Yeah, but then like I would assume that music piracy went down when Apple Music came out, or when iTunes came out, and then when it started becoming exclusive again, and Spotify came out, and everything was suddenly available. Piracy of music went down again.
For like a startup like band to like put music out now than it was before.
I mean, it's easier to do now, but it's tougher to get noticed. But the point is, with like the TV industry, I noticed that they're doing that same sort of thing where you have a lot of platform exclusivity, and like that's why like piracy was kind of on my mind, since that seems to be how the collective like internet is responding to not having Netflix or hating Netflix, but wanting to, but only wanting to pay for like Disney Plus or whatever, or in the Philippines, good number of us. How do we watch The Mandalorian? I wonder. How to the students that we're talking about how they're excited to watch WandaVision. How do you watch WandaVision? Ooh.
Yeah. Actually, thank you for reminding me. I gotta get the first 2 episodes. I heard it's good.
It's all right.
It's all right. Okay.
Yeah, I think the market in many ways will respond, and that's why I'm not particularly enraged over the whole Twitter issue. It's precisely because when you look at the history, there's not a single platform who has really outlived many things. It's kind of like restaurant business. At some point, there is really a expiration date. I may be talking too early. I don't know if Facebook will be with us until eternity, but it's kind of safe to say that it's actually losing dominance at this point.
Yeah.
In terms of not just in terms of user number, but in terms of they're having trouble with maximizing their space literally for advertising. That's why they're moving more and more to Instagram. And more Instagram users are actually trying to find different platforms because it's become a marketplace, and they're getting turned off. So, in many ways, I think that the Facebook design might end up actually ruining itself in the process. It could be an internal, kind of like Rome. No, it's going to end up really. It's going to fall because of that. No, I mean it's more of internal strife than anything. But if we don't learn our lessons here, we're just going to repeat. And I think going back to your Netflix example, I think must democratize yung music industry. Because if you subscribe to YouTube, if I subscribe to Spotify, there's really no such thing as like what we have in Netflix. You can only have a certain number of shows because you have an HBO exclusive, you have a Disney exclusive, and they're all pulling out from Netflix. But Spotify, you pretty much still have all. So one service actually provides this. I think for music, it might survive better because of that. But of course, that's the different issue with how much they compensate the
because of the
musicians. That's another issue altogether, right? But so I think that in terms of tech, it might eventually respond to it. Like it will also lead to more options. But how we will adapt to that, that's another story.
I can actually kind of see it. Yeah, when talking about like how Facebook is on its way out. Vida and Javi, you guys both. How do we put this without sounding like a pedophile? You both like have students, right? I was gonna say you both handle kids, right? So like that's actually bad. Right?
No problem with that.
but like,
what's wrong with that?
Your kids, Bob. Your kids. How many of them are actually on Facebook as their social media platform, versus like they're only there because that's where all the teachers like get in touch with them?
The younger ones definitely are less. I mean, at least my observation is they inhabit the world of Instagram and TikTok at this point, and Twitter. That's where they rage. No, the Twitter is rage venue, but then the rest are for whatever.
For me, to be honest, I don't really check. So like some of them like message me on like Facebook Messenger about like, sir, why is my grade like this? But like,
What's your go-to answer for that, by the way?
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
Do you believe in divine intervention?
No, that's what I was thinking about now. He's a good student. He just submitted all his projects like a day late. So he's like, why is my grade 61? I'm like, because you submitted a day late, so your grade is 61 because it's. But I don't have. I have Facebook, yes. I have Instagram, but I don't have TikTok. I don't have my students message me on Facebook Messenger because they know I have it, but I cannot speak to the younger generation about like TikTok or anything like that. So.
You might be the younger ones might actually be experiencing social media fatigue more than the older ones, because their whole lives right now are literally using technology, and it's not by choice because they're spending how many hours actually
That
using
was
Zoom. So they might,
expounded by the pandemic. So we're all
yeah.
like here.
So they might be the generation to go back to analog. I don't know. That will be interesting. No.
I absolutely love this. Like, I absolutely love that. Like, the kids seem to be having like social media fatigue or whatever, because that means less people are like messaging me. I used to have a lot of students message me on Messenger or whatever, but like now, not so much.
Diba?
Yeah, because they associate it already with work, with school. No?
Yeah.
It's not an escape from school now, or family life. It is everything for them.
Yeah. So
I've had
So to
experiences
escape school and family life, they have to turn off social media. That's an amazing
I know.
response.
I love it.
Whoa.
for us we have like options for the school. Like there's you can do wired or non-wired. Non-wired is
Okay.
like for us it's modular. The school the classes are modular in basis. So if it's non-wired, we give the modules like as wired is like online. So
Yeah.
so I have had students who messaged me like have done the wired like online now, or like, can I do the offline? Can I do non-wired? I'm like, why? Not because like I'm saying no, but I'm just curious, like why? He
Yeah.
goes, because I cannot, handle the classmates, and I think I can do it on my own if it's just with me, and I can manage my own time. I'm like, okay, good. Then
Yeah.
do it when we give our, because we usually have like a poll so that we can gauge like how to develop our classes. I told him like just say offline so that we can prepare.
Yeah.
So there are
I
students
like
that are doing
how
Hmm?
I like the evolution of access to education from where you want it, when you want it, and now how you want it.
that.
Yeah. As a teacher, though, I dread like whenever students, or I dread if students don't have, would prefer to go for the offline like version of it, because that actually means I'm going to have to rely less on that Socratic like go find out and report back to me,
Yeah, it's just
right?
one time like they send everything back and
Yeah.
then you grade everything.
Yeah, I mean it's like, because some of my lessons are, um, I give a nice introduction, and then the part that is supposed to be the actual delivery of content is a series of questions that they should go out and answer,
Hmm.
and how they answer that, well, search the internet, you know.
Yeah.
And like, if they go for a completely offline sort of version of that, I'm going to have to actually type out the lecture.
That's true. I just did that this afternoon for my asynchronous. You have to translate what you're saying, like how you're not supposed to write it in a very academic way, and I'm used to talking about politics in class, so in a more academic way, theories, and all of a sudden I have to really do it in bite size, so it can be digested easily. And I have a problem with trusting my own lecture and just saying that, yeah, you guys can understand that, because again, like me, if I talk jargon, I expect my senior students, college students, to go, you should understand that. Which is not the same, for a senior high school. So that's where I'm having a real crisis right now, to be dramatic about it, because there's going to be very little way for me to know in many ways if they're understanding it.
Have you ever,
So this is
have you ever done that thing where you just like record, where you record your lecture, but have like Microsoft Word or whatever transcribe what you say and just
No,
deliver
not
it?
No, no.
you
no,
haven't
not
tried
right.
that yet.
No.
Have you done that, Joe?
Yeah. Some of my like lessons, I just hit the like transcribe button or whatever and deliver it as I would be delivering a lecture, and then go back and do all of the punctuation after.
And then you send it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, I would just record myself like speaking, even if there's no video, and then just send it to them.
Yeah, that's what we're doing also. We have our synchronous classes. Like in senior high school, we're supposed to have 4 classes per week.
Okay.
But we were told by management that yeah, it's 4 classes, but they can only do so much in terms of synchronous. They really get fatigued. I understand that. And so my students were the ones who actually told me that Miss, we can do maximum of 2 per week.
What's
Synchronous. So
what's synchronous? Sorry, I'm not.
yeah, well, but live basically or recorded. So we don't check attendance. So anyone can attend. So I'm not expecting all students will have the same access. So it's recorded and then we upload it so that others can have time the moment they have access to download it or to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
like you schedule like a Zoom.
Yeah.
For the whole class,
Mhm.
but you don't check attendance even if like you have a class of like say 30.
Mhm.
I have a class of like 29 this semester, and
oh, that's you guys. We have like classes of 40. It's so annoying.
you know.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm the spoiled. I'm the most spoiled in this. Among the teachers here because UANP population is really small compared to.
They're really proud of that.
5.
Well, for
29
now, yeah.
And only 5 attend like the synchronous, and it's only 1 hour a week.
I really like it when I actually really like it when a lot of kids are absent
Why?
because they're forced to interact with you,
Yeah.
right? Because like if sometimes I end up with like 35 kids that are just there. They're just names. But and when I say all right, chat, throw a question or whatever, you're gonna have like 4 or 5 people answer and everybody else just radio silence. And I'd rather have those 5 people there.
I would agree with that. Mhm.
So I kind of like it when a lot of people are absent, and it makes it easier to like justify a low grade, especially if you're doing like recitation. Like, what, you were never there, and you
You're so quiet in chat.
You never gave an excuse letter, di ba? But I don't know.
Well, we're not supposed to check out a grade recitation if it's
Attendance is not.
Mhm,
If
mhm.
attendance is not mandatory, that's why I'm.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I like if it's like a normal like face-to-face class. I like 15, 20.
Yeah.
It's so
yeah,
interesting,
definitely.
like listening to
I haven't had
you educators
Yeah.
talk about the struggles of 10x content philosophy. Which is what what you're doing, right? The way you're being asked to create a video and then turn that into a podcast and then turn that into a newsletter or an article, and then your students can just choose whichever format that they want, and for all we know, you're going to be asking to create like a TikTok video version of it or an Instagram post of it.
They
But
are
it's a little-
let's say multimedia arts college students. They're doing multimedia bachelor's in multimedia arts, right? And they're complaining to me and AG that their general education subjects are giving them more requirements than their degree itself. It's like my PE teacher is asking me to record myself like exercise. Like,
Yeah.
record an exercise. Like, but I'm not I'm an artist. Like, but no, like what? So that's our thing now. We're trying to like figure out like how do we make their online education like.
I have to give it to PE teachers though. How do you do
How do you
online classes on
grade them?
physical education?
how do you like
Our,
someone this online?
Right? It's
sobrang bilib ako sa PE teacher namin.
Yeah.
yeah,
challenges.
exactly. It's for me the most challenging. I cannot imagine myself doing that.
Yeah, no. What our PE teacher did was focus on fitness. So his
How?
requirements were his requirement is something along the lines of like have a fitness like journal,
Oh, okay.
and then define your goals. So by the end of this term, I want to be able to do this, or by the end of the term, I want to lose this much weight, or I want to get my BMI to this, and then
How do you
progression.
Yeah.
So
And
may,
then,
may
ano,
mga quarterly check-ins, parang ganun.
yeah.
All right, now show me that you can run 1 kilometer like
Yeah.
in 5 minutes, parang ganun.
Yeah, can I just talk about the injustice of not having a bleep test at this point for
Oh my God,
That's child abuse, no?
How do you do the test during the
But
pandemic?
can you imagine that?
do it
They
live?
people had to go through that, and now they have no right to complain about.
Mabuto sa level 10. So,
Is that child abuse? I don't
best-
know if it's a child abuse.
I seem to
Test,
remember.
Why was it child abuse? Unless Brixton's in the PE class, of course it's child abuse.
But because because everything is child abuse these days, dude. Everything is child abuse these days.
Little bit
Even
of
things
hassle?
that yeah, right.
yeah.
Yes, that's my main concern when they told me that okay, I'm going to teach senior high school. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I might end up with one parent complaining that I might be brainwashing the student or whatever. So I mean, yeah, those are my worries, of course, because again, teaching high school is a whole different ball game than the academic freedom that is expected and regarded, of course, on a college level. No? So
Yeah, that was different.
mm,
Your role as parents patria or whatever it is different in high school. Like there is that certain expectation that you are more parent-ish and think about the psycho-emotional development of the student, and therefore there is more avenue for you to be liable for child abuse. Pretty much.
yeah. Missteps.
I had
No,
an
I think.
unfortunate experience of teaching grade 5. Where,
Oh yeah, you were a high school
Cute.
teacher like a couple of years
When was
ago.
that? Where's that again? What school?
Bannister Academy.
Oh yeah, no wonder. Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
Teach there.
I will not say anything against Bannister. It's a really good school.
Yeah.
But I would say when I say I have the unfortunate experience of teaching grade 5 is because their teacher quit, and I was the only qualified English teacher to teach, and they were like, "Can you teach it?" I'm like, without knowing anything, like, yes. Like, no, by the way, I'm like, okay, is it more money? Yes, okay, but
The important questions.
different.
But then,
Yeah.
but then your additional compensation isn't commensurate to the amount of work that you have to put into like a completely separate prep. Oh my god! It's like being a homeroom teacher. They give you a little bit of extra cash, sure, but the amount of stuff that you have to worry about as a homeroom teacher.
I'll do
is-
percentages. 60% of them they had some issues with their
Mental health.
mental health.
Yeah.
60%.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
But
were
then-
That's
we were
tough.
told to be more conscious of that too, and not to. I mean, I am trying to be, but I'm an old millennial, like first gen millennial. So it's kind of like the Gen X. We're still in the Gen X. So there's that mentality of yes, we are a little bit more sensitive, but at the same time, we were kind of also in an environment where you have to suck it in.
Yeah.
And you don't talk to your teachers about these things unless you don't talk to your teacher except if it's related to the grades, if they're related to. But you're expected now. I was told to expect that some students will
reach
talk to
out.
me about those things, and I have to reach out, and those things.
They work most ungodly hours.
And so subconsciously, I knew that it is part of the job, but I'm confronted now suddenly with like, oh yeah, okay, it is part of the job. So it's different. It's very different.
Set expectations with the kids
Oh.
at the beginning of the term.
Mm.
Right, guys, I don't reply after 5 p.m. And then like
Pero mag-reply ng 11.
put your money where your mouth is. We use MS Teams as we use MS Teams for our school, no. So I really make it the case now it doesn't notify me of anything after like 5 and only starts notifying me at like 7 or 7:30 in the morning. So even if they did try to get in touch with me, sorry. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way that you can do that.
But you know,
Which
like
is
students are very creative with like researching like who you are and like you know.
that's why I have this that's why I have the podcast, no? And that's why I like have stuff on YouTube. We just put so much stuff out there that if they try to do any sort of research on me, there's gonna be too much for them to do and they just end up becoming fatigued.
That's
Yes, that's true.
It's
So
like, I really
check out
don't-
our YouTube, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Do I really have to spend 1 hour listening to Mr. Atienza, trying to find information about him
Talking
on
about
YouTube?
education in general.
Getting some dirt, posting it online without context, and
Oh, yeah.
canceling him. He gave me a bad time on this class.
Okay.
And I put clap emojis in between words.
Although to be fair, there was one student that if I don't know, sorry if I sound a little bit presumptuous, no, but if I were like if I were Vida, he was like the joao of the class, and and what this guy did was he went through all of the Third World Linux podcasts,
Oh, I remember this story.
and
That's good.
he got a bunch of different like voice clips of me saying whatever,
And,
and
he,
he made like a
he
he made-
spliced?
he made a Mr. Atienza voice pack.
He made a soundboard with Joao.
He made a soundboard with some of the stuff that I said on the podcast, and I found that so amazing.
Can I have that? Because like
We might have stickers of Telegram somewhere. Different Zoom freeze.
I'm trying to promote esports in like the education spectrum, and I want that back. Give to my
Oh God. Oh God.
And it was really
Yeah.
cool. And he debuted it during I like to do like Harkness tables or Socratic circles or whatever, where we have like a number of sorry about that. We have like a number of students, you know, sit in the middle of the class and have like a student-led discussion about topic that I throw at them.
idea.
And if ever he wanted to say something poignant, he'd whip out something from the Mr. Atienza voice pack.
What was his favorite soundbite
Yeah, what's
from
his
you?
favorite soundbite?
Right,
I hope
right.
it's not you cussing.
Yeah.
Something like, that's freaking horrible, or something like that.
Seriously,
I'd like to request for that, and then when my students are consulting, I'll just hold on. This is my reaction to your outline.
freaking amazing.
Oh my God.
Like an audio GIF reaction.
Right.
That was amazing. It was a lot of.
Is he still
It
your
was
student
pretty
now, or like
No. This was like 2 years ago.
what grade did you give him? Like
I mean, he did pretty well. Because he was pretty good. He was pretty good. Like his papers were good. He had really good presentations and all of that. So
would you say like,
you know,
more than
smart and everything.
90%?
yeah, in the 90s, siguro. Yeah.
For me, that's a good grade.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're teaching high school or senior high school?
senior high.
Senior high too. Yeah. But ideally, they're supposed to be college already.
Yeah.
The senior highs I'm teaching right now, basically, guys, those were you, no?
Yeah.
So freshmen and sophomore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do notice a difference in how should I say it?
Demeanor.
Yeah.
Well-
And maybe in many ways also confidence. I don't know how to put it without making it sound like, you know, I'm putting them down, but there's a certain level of confidence before among my students. Like you kind of have this feeling that you're actually dealing with adults.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the labeling that the expectation because you are in college. I don't know how that changes
Yeah.
also your
After
attitude, but
is it the
yeah.
Is this when they finish senior high, or like, basta you're in college?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but say, you know, dealing with the freshmen and sophomores back then, I taught a lot of them. There's a certain, again, certain feeling that I was dealing with adults. No, young as they are, they're young adults, but still adults. No, there's a certain, but here it's quite clear. At least their, you know, management is making it very clear to me that I'm dealing with children.
Yeah, because they're under 18.
You guys were under 18 as freshmen. A lot of you. I was 16 when I entered into college because
Yeah,
I didn't
and-
have grade 7. That's what I'm saying. But parang there's this particular expectation that I'm dealing, even though they're 17 and 18. I asked them, how old are you? 17, 18.
Yeah.
But the expectation is I still treat them like children.
Yeah.
But we're just talking
That's,
about a label between
Threshold
senior high
is
school and
like-
college.
Like
20?
when they say I'm like 19, turning 20, or like when they say I'm 21, but okay, this student is like mature.
Yeah. Well, there's
Oh,
that
parang-
expectation.
For
naman
Yeah.
some
na-
reason, it's not
Oh.
because of like, I don't know. It's a number. It might be a number, but it's like that. Like when I was 19 and 21, different. It was different. Like the mindset. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The moron that I was at 17,
What?
the moron that I was in my freshman year of college is something that I look back
Joe,
on.
you were always in the tents.
Probably should have been, diba?
You were always at the tents.
I was,
I
I
miss
was
doing
I
stuff
had-
that probably wasn't proper for a
Yeah.
17-year-old to be doing. Diba?
probably that was probably the wrong person.
only got to experience tents
Which
for
was-
one semester.
Definitely not. Definitely doing
by
things that
mid-November
definitely
20s.
17-year-olds shouldn't have been doing in the middle of the afternoon.
Oh,
diba?
man.
Oh, okay.
But I do believe that there's something to what Vida's pointing out.
Yeah,
And
no, I
it's-
mean, I can see it.
The title change from high school to college also means like a mindset change. Like when I remember when I
Indeed.
graduated from high school and I was like, all right, I'm college now. I should be getting my stuff together. So
Same.
Yeah.
Hardship.
I gotta
Hardship.
enter it with a different mindset than when I was in high school and try to do it a little more seriously.
I didn't do that. I was delayed because like my first year I was like, oh, freedom.
The big difference between high school and college kids
Really,
is the parents.
yeah. It really,
Okay.
Involvement of the parents.
Involved.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
Actually.
involvement of the parents. Because if you're in college, theoretically,
Yeah.
you can just like not tell your parents your grade.
the what?
There's a,
You
And the-
don't? You
and the social peer of your parents, like going to school and talking to your teachers. I think there's like
Oh.
there's an embarrassment right there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's social
Yeah.
pressure, that's peer pressure.
So, but then when you're when it's high school, there is sort of that expectation for the parents to have a parent teacher conference, and that can also have a bit of an effect, at least for us as the teachers.
Mhm.
Now we view them more as kids because their parents, because of the looming shadow of the parent there.
Mhm.
Diba?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I know it's weird. Like Norm said, I just started to get more serious when I entered college. Like in high school, when I go home, first thing I do I study? No, hey, there's a PS2. First thing I do in college, like freshman or sophomore or third year, before I squat in ELB for majors, like, oh, I'm back home. What am I gonna do? Oh, here's a handout. I gotta sit my ass for 2-3 hours to read this, and then PS2.
But that's the thing. If the expectation of adding of implementing the K-12 is that we are preparing students more to become more prepared to adulthood, I'm not sure then if the extra 2 years
It's gonna help.
is doing that, or are we just prolonging also their childhood?
I would say
It's a good question.
Yeah, because
It feels like
ideally, one of the end goals of K-12 is that many people can opt not to go to college and go straight to work.
Yes, that's why I'm pro K to 12, because
Right? Yeah,
people should
ideally.
be able to go
Shortening,
straight to
yeah.
work after college, after
But
high school.
given what we're talking about, that it seems to just prolonging their childhood. Are we preparing them in
Just
fact to
extra high
adulthood?
school.
Yeah. If they're not even behaving, or it's the impact, unintended consequences prolonging that, and assuming that they're not going to go to college and they're going to go straight to work. I'm not sure if employers are ready to have.
happening.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to employ 8 to 12 graduates.
Yeah, so
Because
so
our K to 12 sucks. If we had a decent K to 12 system, right? If we,
like
I mean,
Germany.
yeah, or you look at the British like O levels and A levels, kids that come out of like the A level, which is essentially like a 12-year, which is essentially grades like 0 to 12 or grade 1 to 12 or whatever. Those people are employable. They can like work at a steel mill or something, or
But something essential there that's different is that they have also apprenticeship programs.
yeah.
Yeah, which we don't have. So if you're gonna go technical vocational here, I'm not sure if they're just gonna put you somewhere and they expect you to weld something exceptionally well after your K to 12 classes, diba?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one of the major advantages of the British system, that they really have, and their
Solid
apprenticeship is that
apprentice.
they really have to apply for it. Like if you're a company or a construction company, you accommodate, and that gives you points something. There are incentives for that. So we don't have that, of course. So you're right. Napaka disjointed nung K to 12 program natin.
So what I'm hearing, like the most logistically plausible scenario is that the extension to K to 12 is actually TESDA.
For the
TESDA,
technical vocational, yes.
but you know what's funny?
Yes, technical vocational.
TESDA was actually a response to the legal parang minimum working age being 18, but we were graduating high school kids at 16. Right? So we graduate kids at we graduate high school. We used to graduate high
You
school
have those two.
16, and then you have 2 years before they can
Man.
legally start to work. And so
I can imagine like the conversation in that room, like, we've got 2 more years, guys. What
do
do
we
we
do?"
do?
yeah, and that's why you find so many 2-year courses in TESDA.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of those 2-year courses in TESDAs because your kids need something to do after they graduate high school. So a 2-year program before they can legally begin to work.
So yeah, there are a lot of problems with the K-12.
Some benefit to like the K to 12, like dealing with like college, like the demographic of my students now are like, they're supposed to be in like their 3rd year of college, but without K to 12, they're supposed to be like 1 year after graduation. You know? And and like dealing with like college students before that, I can see like some sense of like maturity in a way, but I don't know if it's like enough to justify like having 2 years of senior high school.
Well, ako, I actually quite like the senior high school program, or I don't like the senior high school program. I like the idea of graduating kids at 18.
Yeah.
Because when I was 16, like I had no idea what I was gonna do with my life. Which is which is why I like the school that we went to, because we had those extra 2 years before we actually had to choose a major, and that was 18, and that's when I had a bit of a clearer picture as to like where this life was going to go. I mean, it was still a little blurry.
Not all like 20 years old, but
so I don't know. I don't know. I think the fundamental problem one of the big problems with the system we had before was we were asking 16, 17-year-olds to decide what they wanted to do for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And if, and to Vida's point, there does seem to be this extension of childhood. It's something that we see throughout, it's something that we see throughout history. Now, as we progress as a society, we keep our kids as kids longer, which is kind of interesting. And this is sort of a reflection of that. Because it used to be the case, right? If you take any sort of dev psych class, they'll tell you that back in the day, kids were viewed as small adults, and the moment they could start working in the fields, they'd put them in the field. Yeah.
Even we go back to industrial Europe. At the age of 12, they were the ones in demand because they're small enough to clean chimneys. So they were all over the industrial places. So can you imagine the health hazard today? That would have been a cause for huge concern.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things. In theory, I like graduating kids at 18, but the way it's being handled now is not really that great. Which is
I guess the core of the problem for how it's being implemented right now, the K to 12 system here is parang, if I understand correctly, was that it was a response to the requirement of fast food workers being like at least 2 years in college, and that was a little too much to ask for some people.
And also for industrial,
I mean, it's kind of
Internationalization
So
also.
insensitive.
Yeah. It's also for those who want to go to college abroad, because we graduate with a baccalaureate here at the age of 2021. So if you want to take a master's, for example, in England, they're going to ask you to take another master's because it's not the degree, but it's the number of years of education that they're also looking into. So from the technical vocational all the way to the formal, college education, K-12 was meant to address all of those things. But I think also it's quite unfair to lay it all down on K to 12 because prior to K to 12, the system is problematic.
Yeah.
The curriculum itself. So you just added it on. No? Nag-add on ka lang kasi may problema na malaki. No? So it's all over the place. No?
And they added 2 years of curriculum.
Exactly. So yeah.
I still can't
All
believe
the therapy.
Or do they still have Polgov in or something or Polgov equivalent in college?
Yeah, because we still offer the 4-year degree program. And we call it the Pothot and Gov na nga.
Okay, yeah, because like Polgov is only required for Humes.
High school.
Sa high school, it's only required for Humes, diba? So, your STEM kids, your ABM kids, and
Really? Isn't that Constitution? Kasi that's in the Constitution, you have to offer constitutional studies.
Kaya nga eh. Which is why I was wondering, because like our STEM kids and our ABM kids don't have to take Philippine politics and governance. So I was wondering, is that
college?
In college,
that
or
sounds
did they
dangerous
take
if they
it
don't
out of?
take it?
It's a college subject.
Yeah, there's probably more flexibility there because the requirement is that, but it should be in high school na because the assumption nga is that if you're taking K-12, you're more likely not to take college, and it should go down to the high school level. So I'm not sure about what happened in your school, why they're not teaching it, but ideally, unlike history and Filipino, it's in the Constitution talaga, like Rizal.
Yeah. That's the thing, because DepEd said that Philippine politics and governance is a specialized subject. Hindi siya core. It is a specialized subject for the Humes strand.
Oh, that's yeah. I think that's
Yeah, I remember that.
for somebody who teaches citizenship, that's gonna be quite the headache, no? And
Di ba?
the impact may even be more severe socially, no, not just in terms of class, but yeah.
That's what
And
teachers are dealing with because like the Ched said like Filipino is not a requirement.
well, everybody takes Filipino in high school. Okay yan.
Yeah, but
Pare, we got this. High school got this. Huwag ka nang mag-alala sa Filipino, pare. Filipino 1 to 3, that's taken up in high school. Okay?
exactly. So like the Filipino teachers in college are like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but then it wasn't enough before.
I get like Vida is
That's true.
foreseeing for the
The
citizenship.
problems, yeah.
What the teachers are dealing with, the Filipino college teachers are dealing with right now.
But I'm
Yeah.
surprised about that one that DepEd categorized it as a specialized subject.
Yes, di ba? For, para bang,
It's not
and that's why I was wondering if CHED still required something similar as part of the general curriculum, as
No,
part of the general subjects.
no. In fact, they wanted to even lessen general subjects. They wanted the plan of CHED rather. Sorry, of CHED was to make general subjects parang 1 year. Parang kumbaga, let's go the Lasallian way in the 90s, and where you graduate at the age after 3 years of college. They wanted to really shorten the general
I'm studying
education and then
this right now.
All right. See you.
thank you. Hi.
No, he said he's in LaSalle right now.
Oh, sorry, you're I thought you were saying goodbye.
I think he was
Oh, I thought
waving
you said
goodbye.
Yeah, I thought you said.
Hello.
I thought you said you're low bat.
I guess the Green Church should have like tipped me
Yeah.
off. I'm sorry.
Diba? Lasallians were
Lasal,
graduating
yeah.
at the age of 19 and no one complained about immaturity.
Yeah.
My brother,
I
like,
think. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
Diba?
yeah,
They-
he
they-
graduated
they-
almost 19 or 20.
diba?
That young.
It's been their system. And Ched wanted to kind of do that too. No? But of course, universities because of different reasons, from the economic, no, profitability and all, survival rather. Obviously, you're going to. That also would mean you're going to remove many faculty members. So from the practical to educational ideation and all, it wasn't well accepted. Obviously, no, nobody wanted to follow the 3-year plan.
Uh-oh.
9?
I don't know. In theory, the way it should have been was the general subject should have been pushed down to high school.
Yeah. AP, no, they call it the bus states.
Yeah,
AP
yeah.
subjects.
All of the general subjects should have been pushed down to high school, and then your college is primarily majors. That way, you have specialists coming out of college.
Yeah.
But instead, they're
That's
teaching.
not what's happening.
That's not what's happening. We have a weird hodgepodge where in high school, you have kids that are taking STEM, taking up calculus. Kids that are in the humanities taking up Philippine politics and governance, and kids that are in ABM taking up like whatever organizational management is. And then they end up going into college and still having to take readings in Philippine history. So you take readings in Philippine history, put that in high school, take calculus, put that in college.
That's true.
You know, I don't know.
Well, I think at least in UA and P, it's more like that. No, they try to really bring down many of the college subjects. It's a little bit confusing because we have several strands of batches now. We have the so-called 6YP.
Yeah.
The straight program from K to 12, from senior high school all the way to master's. So they take it in 6 years, everything.
I feel bad.
Yeah, and then you have the 4YP, the regular baccalaureate, and then you have the 5YP. So
which is what we were like.
What you had.
Yeah, we had 5.
So I'm
5
teaching
white
technically
people.
3 batches in one subject
5
right
white
now.
Pero yun, I don't know. It seems that just seems like the more logical thing to do kasi, di ba? To rearrange it that way. I don't. That's always how I've kind of viewed it.
That was my
Bakit ka nag-readings in Philippine history sa college and Rizal when that should be taken by everybody? You can put that in high school, and all of the specialized subjects that DepEd proposed, put that all in college in the individual like courses.
I have no answer for that except for Rizal because it's in the Constitution. You have to teach it in college.
my lolo son.
So that one, you have to amend the Constitution.
Yeah.
To remove.
Constitution.
Yeah, the
Pero
Constitution.
yun nga, that should be that should be in high school. And it should be in senior high school specifically because senior high school, the entire senior high school program doesn't have a single history subject.
All the history has to be in senior because that's where they absorb everything, like to a degree of like.
Yeah, I saw the high school curriculum of DepEd, and yeah.
No, there's not a single history subject. That's something that's so frustrating.
That's true. I was surprised because I was doing a consultancy work a few months ago on human rights education. And it's the most frustrating read. I mean, just going through the whole curriculum, I'm like, there's no human rights education because you basically have no social science, no, and that includes history and yeah.
And when you ask like students ask her like, do you know about this? They're like, no. Like, shouldn't you know about it? And
Well, it's relegated. It's been relegated to like one lesson in UCSP. Human rights and the common good is like one lesson in UCSP.
Yeah. You introduce child's rights at 3rd grade, but then it's like skipping it. Then you find little things about human rights in the 6th grade, and then you find it on the senior high school. So the information just won't stick. I cannot imagine it.
Yeah.
So
Kaya UCSP. When I was handling UCSP, that was, I guess, the scariest class that I ever had to handle because of how important it is. In the sense that, talking about human rights education, that's the only place you'll really find it explicitly in the in the senior high school curriculum. And then on top of that, you have to talk to them about all of the good social science stuff. Diba? So, parang bigat nun.
yeah.
And I'm glad.
And the senior high school teachers, you're kind of like you're expected to deliver a college level education, but under high school rules, no. So I don't know, how do you do that? I'm only there for 9 weeks, no. But for you guys, that's really your advocacy and your vocation right now. So I really cannot imagine.
Something my boss told me was handle the classroom like high school. Wait, are you saying you're in LaSalle? All right, man. Take.
Okay, now you're saying goodbye already.
Okay.
Okay, now the battery is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.